What's up, warriors? Welcome back to SoulSpot. I know this is a weird stuff. We got all three of us in one room. We got Rose and Dev back here with us. And guys, we are so excited for this topic. I just want to put a disclaimer out there that this topic may be triggering. So this is just a warning that, if you are watching this and then just things kind of just start coming up, please don't hesitate to reach out to us or reach out to your pastor or a good friend. Please don't let that just sit and let that linger for you. But guys, we are so excited to talk about this because this is a real issue that we have all experienced, faced, or working through, and we wanted to make this conversation just open so that you know that you're not alone in this process either. We'll be talking about honor, which is pretty cool. We will actually be talking about honor with our bodies. How do we honor our bodies? What do we eat? What are our unhealthy behaviors? All those things. And also for this month, we have Rachel Fallstrom. She is a certified dietitian who is joining to do a webinar on healthy eating and healthy lifestyle, healthy exercise, because that can be just as addictive as unhealthy eating and things like that. So
I need that.
Yeah, keep your eyes out for the flyers, the promotion that will be coming out for that. It will be $10 a ticket to join this webinar, and that proceeds will actually go towards helping Establish Love become a nonprofit organization. Woo! So please come out, support, share it with your friends, families. We're so excited for this. And so, let's just get right into it, and we hope that it would bring healing and freedom for you guys.
Definitely. So we wanted to start off. I wrote a book called Cirque, and it's a fiction book about 5 different teenagers who are all struggling with something different. They all die and wake up in a circus tent. And one of the characters named Lily actually struggles with bulimia. And, she popped into my head when we were discussing what we want to discuss and, honor and body image. And it's such a talked about topic outside of the church. And, we just feel like it should be just as much talked about in the right way and in the healthy way in the church. And so I just wanted to read an excerpt from Lily's chapter to lead us into the beginning of this conversation. And if you're interested in Cirque, we'll figure out how to get you the information.
We'll put that link in the bio.
Yeah, link in the bio. But Lily, so this is kind of mid chapter, but when she was younger, she was at a soccer camp, and these girls, introduced the idea of purging to her, which is, making yourself throw up, if you're not familiar with that language. And, she was like, I would never do that. And then various things started to happen. She liked this boy, and the girls were like, no, he wouldn't go for someone like you. Like, you're not skinny enough. You're not this, you're not that. And so this is a few months after the soccer camp, and this is a memory that she's recalling. So she's at dinner with her family. Are you going back next year? Lily's mother asked. The 4 of them sat in a restaurant celebrating. Her mom was talking about soccer camp. Lily shook her head. Why not? Her mom asked. Lily just shrugged as she shoved another forkful of spaghetti into her mouth. Slow down there, kid. You don't want to swell up like a balloon. Her dad chuckled innocently. Her mother laughed and shoved his arm. Her little sister mimicked a balloon blowing up and then popping. That night, Lily sat in her bathroom, cross-legged in front of the toilet. She fiddled with her hands, replaying the summer in her mind, replaying the mean words, the rejection, the comments from her family that they didn't even realize held so much power. She cried as she leaned over the toilet. She cried while she threw up her dad's celebratory dinner. She cried while she brushed her teeth and washed her hands. She cried as she got into bed, and she cried until she fell asleep. And I just thought that specific section was so important because sometimes it's hard to find where it started.
Yeah.
And I've just found a lot of times it's innocent comments or innocent cultural things that people don't even realize begins that thought process.
Yeah, absolutely. I mentioned it right before we had just started. I was like, yeah, I'm Hispanic. And that's such a huge thing in Hispanic culture, is to just kind of talk about women's bodies for whatever reason. And so it's like, you're not skinny enough, or in my case, it was that I wasn't full enough, because all the women in my family are very curvaceous and beautifully just, have Jennifer Lopez type of bodies. And so I always got the, you got to go eat a burger. you know, you look like a spaghetti. You like, I've gotten all the comments. I've gotten, you look sick. Are you okay? And I was like, whoa, like I am actively trying to put on weight. I'm actively trying to, you know, do things to make sure that I don't look the way that you guys are describing me. And it all started when I was little, when I was constantly being called by my family members, you know, you're skinny, go eat something, go eat something. And it was like, I eat all day. Yeah. I don't know like how much more y'all want me to eat.
And what's crazy, like most of the time it's innocent. Like there's no like harsh motive behind it, but it just feeds into this, I call it a shame crap storm by Brene Brown. She's, you know, a licensed social worker, but you know, it's feeding back into this cycle of this shame.
Deborah, I feel what you're saying because I come from a Caribbean household as well. And it's always comments about, you know, weight gain, weight loss, weight gain. I struggle with losing weight, especially, I mean, we come from a Caribbean household. The food is not
adobo.
Adobo on everything, girl, on everything.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense.
My arteries, I'm sure, are not okay. Like,
not, absolutely not.
And then on top of that, you have social media or TikTok that this is the way you should eat, or how many calories you should eat, or these are the foods that will help you lose or gain. And it's like, what's truth? Like,
well, but then you have the flip side where it's like, love yourself. It doesn't matter what you eat the whole cake. Like, you're beautiful. Like, and that's not healthy either. Like,
right.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I used to down myself in salt and vinegar chips, just like the whole bag in one sitting, watching TV, and that was emotional eating. No one is ever satisfied, right? You're either too big, too little, eat too much, don't eat enough, don't eat healthy. Like, the world doesn't even know what it wants, you know?
Right. Pop culture is just heavily influential on what we should be doing in our everyday lives and what we should look like at all times. Because what was it? The 90s, early 2000s, it was, you know, if you're skin and bones, then you're gorgeous, you know, and that's the only way you can be a model, right? And now it's like, well, if you're not thick and if you don't have, you know, big boobs and a big butt, then you're not a woman, or you're less of a woman, right? And so I do also feel like it's just whatever pop culture is dictating, that's what it is. Those are the rules today. Tomorrow it could be something different.
But that's why now we have the term body dysmorphia going around. And, you know, for those who don't know, it means when you like look at yourself, the reality of actually like how you look is like it's not
like you could be skin and bone, but you literally see 30 pounds heavier than you actually are, or vice versa. Like, you know, and it's true, like you physically like see something totally different.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely struggled with that because I think growing up in a Korean household and Korean culture, but growing up in America, like in Korea, it's ideal to be very slender, very thin. Even when I go to Korea now, I don't fit into the clothes, like because I'm considered much thicker than, you know, the average size. But then here in America, I'm on the skinnier side. So it's like, it was so hard for me to find this balance of like, well, then how should my body be? And then having comments from people being like, you shouldn't exercise too much, you'll get big like a boy. And I'm like, well, scientifically, that's not even true because I don't produce enough testosterone to do that. But, you know, it's like all these comments from all sides really start to wear down. Well, what does God want me to like? Well, how does he want my body to be? Like, how does he want me to be healthy? And so that was something I had to like work out of and continually every day is like, no, I can enjoy and like eat well and not have to worry so much about other people's opinions of how I should look, you know, but that's like a daily battle because social media just in your face with how you
in your face, in your whole face.
Like, literally in your face.
Well, a couple of years ago, it was so crazy. I was really trying to gain weight. I was actively really trying to gain weight. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with trying to change your appearance so that you can feel a little bit better about yourself. If you want to go ahead and lose some weight, go ahead and lose some weight. You want to gain some weight, go ahead and gain some weight. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But the way that I was going about it was very like obsessed with
That's the
my
word.
diet.
That's when it gets
Obsession.
unhealthy.
Yeah. I was obsessed with my diet. I was taking mass gainers. So I was really trying to gain weight. It broke out my whole face. During that whole process of me trying to better myself, I was so insecure. I was so depressed. I just was so like, I'm not gonna look like her. I'm not gonna look like her. I'm not gonna, that's not my body type. Like, I'm 5'7". I'm not going to look like that. And it's like, and then I have to ask myself, why do I want to look like that so bad? I didn't know who I was. So I had to figure out who the heck I was, like, who is Deb? What makes me a woman? Is it my body that makes me a woman? Is it the shape of my body that makes me a woman? Is it what I've been told for years? And so once I learned and was going through that process, and I'm still going through that process, I then became less obsessed. And then I had to literally stop everything that I was doing.
I think even when it comes to body image, some of the standards that we're looking at aren't even real. Some people that have really went out there and did things out of the norm to get their body to this size, and it's really like a place out of not loving yourself.
And this is my opinion, so I want to know what y'all's opinion is. I don't have an issue with women getting their breasts done, or lipo, or I don't know, whatever, tummy tuck, whatever it is you want to get done. For me, I feel like I've always come from the point of like, as long as it's just something you kind of just want to do, you've always wanted to do, and you got the money to do it, be free, like, go do it. That's always kind of been my mentality.
Yeah.
But I do see the flip side of like, you're altering your body that God gave you. But I've always battled with that. So I want to know what y'all's opinion is on that.
My first thought is it an idol in your life? Like, why are you doing it?
That's exactly.
Are you
my
doing
thought,
it so people look at you and say, wow, she's hot or she's sexy? Are you doing it because you're dissatisfied in your marriage? Are you doing it because you hate yourself? Like, and so like, because I'm with you, like, it's kind of like to each his own, like, personal convictions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people drink, some people don't. Some people, wear pants, some people don't, like, personal convictions. So I feel like just my thought is like, ask yourself, like, not yourself, but like if it's someone doing this, like, why though?
Really,
Yeah,
why?
really why?
Know, it's the same thing with even just like as simple as losing weight, gaining weight. Like, why? Like, is it so you get a man? Because that was always my thing, is like, my family it has a history of obesity. And so it was always like, make sure you're skinny before you get married, so that when you have kids, you're not huge, because your husband is not a third. So I always connected like body image with men. Like, I don't have a boyfriend because I don't look attractive enough to have a boyfriend. And so I was like having this whole battle because I just wanted a boy,
Right.
I just feel like that motive there of like, the identity, the insecurity, like, is it because you're not secure, or just because you just want to and you can and you have the money and
right
trip or doing this,
It sounds like, from what I've been hearing, these tensions exist both in the church and outside of the church.
Yeah, girl.
With people group. Because I with Deb, I can also say I know a lot of people who have gotten their bodies done or something. Personally, I don't judge them, and I wouldn't, I obviously, of course, analyzing if that's an idol, but engaging people that do and are not in the church. What do you say to them? Because they come to the church and this is what they're doing. Then are we going to go to them and say, this might be an idol, or maybe you might want to try not doing that, or is it something of, do we accept that that's just what their culture, what their culture is? How do we challenge that? And then also, in a way that it honors them, honors what they value, because it can be argued that fashion is a way of altering your appearance, which what is different than at that point. and makeup as well alters your appearance. So then
yes, it does.
If they're at that point. So I don't know, maybe it goes a little bit deeper than, is it an idol? Is it a way of creativity? Is it expressing yourself? Is it someone that has the money that wants to express themselves in that way? I don't know. Those are just my thoughts.
Well, exactly. And it's like the personal conviction, right? It's like if you and God are chill, and that's why we can't judge people, because like you don't know
their story.
And the closer you get to the Father's love, like however you change or like experience that is how that happens. Like maybe you go to church for the first time and you've grown up in that culture of just getting your body done or whatever, but then God starts to talk to you and say, hey, maybe not. At the end of the day, I feel like it's like the question is, do I love myself? Like, do I feel loved by God? And am I letting that love translate into self-love too? Because self-love is important. Like, you know, the world has kind of coined that term of like self-love, and like I've heard people like, well, like, you know, kind of, but it's important. Like, you are a temple of the Holy Spirit. Like, and you don't love the temple? Like, of course we love the temple. We love the church. We love, and like we are that. And like the more that you feel loved by God, and at least that's been my experience, like the more I know how much God loves me, the less I hate myself. Because how do you hate something that you know God loves? And like that's the bottom line, is like, because I have actually had to not make fashion an idol. Like for me, like God was like, why are you trying so hard? And I'm like, dang, you're right. Like, you know? And so I had a transition of like, I'm trying to be liked into, I like doing this. But it came with like, you know, that revelation of like, I'm loved. And at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter what happens or what I look like, or, you know, I'm loved. And because I know I'm loved, I'm going to honor myself in these specific ways, eating right, and just, you know, not gorging myself out of emotion.
That's important. It's so interesting because I feel like I'm very big on like working out and eat, like really watching what I eat and things like that. Like people be calling me a gym rat, and yes, I am. And I remember there was one point though, my friend was like, what if you didn't like go to the gym for 3 weeks? I think he asked me that like a year ago. I was like, I looked at him like, you're crazy. That would never happen. And then I think I got hurt or something, and I was out for a month, and I was like, wow. But that really checked my heart though, because even healthiness can be an idol. Like going to the gym every day, like making sure you burn this many calories, like, you know, make sure you eat this amount of food. And so back to like even your point, Rose, which I think is such a great perspective. It's like, never would I come in this place of judgment. It's like, but I think building that relationship, and as you hear someone's story and what they've experienced and gone through, this compassion just comes over me where I'm just like, I feel you. I've been there. Like I get what you mean, you know? And so,
because it's culture too. Like maybe you grew up in LA where it's just what you do, or like, I'm acting like I know anything. I really don't. But you know, like you grow up in a family where your mom, your sister, like everybody, and it's the same thing.
It's a normative thing.
You know? And it's that's so true. Like, and if you're watching this, like there's absolutely no judgment, like at all.
Christianity, it can't be so like black and white with these kinds of topics, because there's just so much gray area.
I feel like it's the same thing with tattoos and drinking. Like that's why it's a personal relationship with Jesus, you know? And that's why it's like, it's so gray, because it's not supposed to be all, here's the list of rules and regulations. Don't get your body done. Do get your body done. You know what I mean? It's like, it's you and Jesus. Maybe that's why this topic isn't so strong in the church area or whatever. It's because like
everyone has different views on it. You think?
It's like, look, your Jesus and you relationship is different than me and Jesus relationship. You know, it's a personal experience and a personal thing. And if Jesus is cool with me getting lots of tattoos, okay. And that's where it gets dangerous in the church, and why people can get frustrated, is because it's like, well, you're telling me not to do this or that, but I don't feel that way. And like, really, that's not what, you know, it's a personal,
it becomes like a religious, like do's and don'ts list.
Exactly. Which so many people away.
I'm thinking about someone who might be watching this. They're hearing us speak, and they're dealing with this issue. And we're talking about their relationship with Christ, which is so important, with God, reminding them that they're loved, that he created them exactly how they are, that he knew how they were going to look in that specific moment, in this specific moment, feeling like this person is alone and they feel alone because how do you tell your friends or those close to you that I'm not okay and this is actually a problem for me? What does that person need in a friend? How does this person want their friend to show up for them? What qualities should this friend have for this person to be able to say, I'm dealing with this issue and I just need someone to talk to about it, no judgment, no anything? Like, what's that quality?
I think Soli touched on the fact that everyone has insecurities. So it's like in a sense of like, if your friend is able to share with you, so it's like really a sharing thing. Like, okay, you know, we both have insecurities. You're not going through this by yourself. You're not alone. You're not the only one that's, you know, maybe looking at themselves in a not the best way, you know, and really being there and like kind of reassuring each other or reaffirming each other. Sometimes you just need someone to really like highlight your better qualities sometimes, you know, and say, okay, maybe this area, well, I don't want to say that as far as your body image, or maybe you may not feel this, you know, as great here, but you're awesome, or, you know, just kind of reassuring them and just encouraging them as far as, you know, that they are enough and that they are valued.
What I would ask someone is like, where did it start? Like, tell me, like, just tell me the story. Like, where did it start? And let's start there, right? Like, let's try to forgive the person who said this or the person who did this. Like, that's where my brain always goes. It's like, who said this to you as a little kid? Like, what can we do? Because that's, you know, we don't want to just cure symptoms. Like, we want to cure root, right? And so like that would just be me, and I would want someone to do that to me, you know, because it's so easy to just block out that and like not want to think about sitting there and hearing, you know, behavior modification, but not right. So like I know like I needed someone to say, hey, let's trace this back to when they said this, and you were little and it was an innocent comment, but look how long you've let it run your life, you know. And like, not that it's easy said and done at all, but just being able to like recognize like, okay, because so much of how we view ourselves in the world and God was established under the age of 5 or 6. And it's like you let that little 6-year-old you determine how 26-year-old you is going to live. And it's like, if we can go back and forgive that little kid and have grace on that for that little kid and just, then it can really like, and again, I'm not saying it's going to cure one and done, you know, of course, sometimes it will though. Like you would be surprised at how much just forgiving a comment or releasing it almost, you know, can just heal that wound, you know, because insecurity is a wound. And so that would just kind of be my first thought. It's like, who said it and what can we do to heal that moment?
Being a good friend for somebody would be just like not saying, oh, stop, you know. It's being able to say, even though I don't understand what you're going through, I hear you. I can hear that you're upset. I hear that you are going through this, you know. And I think just being vulnerable, because when you're able to open up and be vulnerable with somebody about what you're going, sometimes people think like, someone could look at Rose and say, wow, she's so beautiful, she has it all together, she must, you know, look in the mirror and think she's so beautiful at all times, but and you are beautiful and you're gorgeous, but I can only imagine like people thinking that way, and then maybe you opening up one day and saying, I deal with this and this. That is so freeing. That is so freeing to hear somebody who you think has it all together say, I have some rough days. I have some rough days where I wake up and I do not like what I see in the mirror. Like, do you know how comforting it is to know?
I think a challenge for us is to live our lives a little bit more authentically with one another, because that really helps a person who might be going through something pour their heart out to us, because we are living authentically. And so I would challenge anyone viewing this, and even us, for us to try to live a little bit more authentically about what we're going through, because that's the only way that people are going to relate. That's the only way that people are going to feel seen. And that's what Jesus did. I mean, I love that we have buildings and buildings on top of buildings for church, but there's people out there that have never experienced may have never experienced a believer that literally had an authentic conversation with them about what their life was like and what their struggles are. So that's why my question came up, because I want whoever's listening to know, like, there's people out there that are authentic and they're willing to be vulnerable with you and to seek them out. And like Deb said, it's like, wait, and don't let people invalidate your feelings. You feel what you feel, and there are people out there that want to listen.
That's I think what Jesus invites and does with us all the time. He's just that compassionate, and that just he's there and present. And I think sometimes it's easy for us to just be like, even our own voice, to kind of be the voice that Jesus would speak, like, well, just get over it. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about it. Like, move on. New mercies every morning. Tomorrow will be better, But it's like, but Jesus, his character and who he is to sit with us in that moment and be like, okay, what does your soul need? Like, he knows what our soul needs, but I feel like he asks questions for us to be aware of what we need and to ask him for it.
Yeah.
And so I think for everyone who is watching and who just tuned in with us, we want to invite you into the arena to join us to live authentically. We are not perfect. We are here as women who love Jesus and are pursuing him every day, but we have our struggles, we have our insecurities, we have our rough days, our hard days, our tough days. We have obstacles and lessons that we learn every day. We grow as well. And so we want to just invite you guys to join us in that journey, because again, it's not black and white where we have arrived and achieved. That's why we're doing these videos. We're doing this because we want other women, other people to know that you're not alone in this journey, and that we want to walk alongside of you. And so guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's such a heavy topic, but we want to be that platform where we want to talk about tough things and really bring the view of Jesus into it. So keep a lookout for that webinar that is coming up. Guys, her story is amazing, Rachel Fallstrom's story, and even her journey of what it looks like to restore that identity of who God had created her to be, and working out of the pressures of society and cultural standards and all these different things, and to learn and renew our minds in a healthy way, how to live whole, how to live healthy, how to exercise and eat well. So please keep an eye out for that. But warriors, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for trooping through. What is that a word? Trekking through.
It is not.
It is now.
We make up words on this SoulSpot. But thank you so much for sticking it through with us. We know it's not an easy thing, but we want you to know that you are not alone. Jesus loves you. We love you, and we hope to see you in the arena again.
Check out the resources in the comments, and there's websites and just ways to, if you are struggling with bulimia, if you are self-harming, please reach out to somebody.
Yes,
please. There is a full life that is waiting for you, a healthy and whole life, and we want to help you, and there's organizations out there. So please just have some courage and some boldness and really push yourself, and check out those resources, because you don't have to do this alone.
And you're worthy to live that life. You are worthy to live that life. So
make sure you subscribe.
Yes.
Oh, that too. Yes.
Right.
All of it. Thank you. Yes, that too.
All of it.
All right, warriors. We'll see you next time.
Bye.